Amy, you're back in the studio. You're back in the podcast. We did an interview about a year ago.
Wow. Yeah, that was a long time ago. I love that interview, but thanks for having me back.
So you've lost 66 pounds.
Yeah, I have.
And
I've maintained that for like 5 years now. So that is wild. I never thought that was something that I was going to be able to do.
do you know how many times in a day or in a week I hear your name, Broccoli Mum, where people are like, Broccoli Mum's doing this, Broccoli Mum's doing that? Because obviously you have a huge following now on social media, sharing about the recipes that worked for you to lose these 66 pounds and sharing like your story on YouTube. And so it's very exciting to have you back here. And what I wanted to do is just talk about your story again. And we want to share like a couple of updates on kind of what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Draw back the curtain a little bit.
That sounds great. I'm ready to be fully exposed. Let's go for it.
Amazing. Take us back a little bit to the beginning of your journey. When was that exactly?
Are you saying when I started losing weight or back before?
Back before
Back
that,
to the
like
very
take
beginning.
us. Okay, when did you first start dieting?
Or I think I was very conscious that I was overweight even before I even hit my teens.
Oh, really?
Yeah, even as a kid. So I grew up living in Ethiopia where food was very, very simple, probably very whole foodsy. But then we would come back to the UK and we would essentially binge on all of the things that we'd been missing for months at a time. And so I was very aware that even as a kid, after a few months of eating loads of vegan ice cream and vegan cheese and like vegan butter on everything when I was back in the UK, like that really packed on. And so I used to feel really subconscious even as a kid that I had gained weight. And so moving into my teens, it was something I was really conscious of, in the sense that I probably had been dieting since I was about 11 or just being conscious that I didn't really want to eat that much food because I felt like I was somebody who just gained weight so easily.
Right. And like you naturally like eating a lot of food. Like we went and got Ethiopian last night, which was amazing. Like the best Ethiopian in Austin,
so good.
in my opinion. But you were telling me a story about eating and nearly having to be carried. Can you share that?
I mean, I call myself a volume eater
Yeah.
because I do like to eat a lot of food, and especially if it's tasty food. Like that Ethiopian was so good. And I remember historically, like Ethiopian is very nostalgic to me. I love the flavors. I grew up there. It's so good. And so it comes in like this massive plate called the Yates on bayonet. And I could eat 1, 2, 3 of them to myself, which if you put that food in front of me, it's almost as big as me. Like that's
Yeah,
outrageous.
you're
I can
tiny.
get through so much food. And so obviously, as somebody who likes to eat a lot of food, if you're not eating the right kinds of food, if you're eating really calorie dense stuff, that can, like in the course of like a month or two, I could gain like 10 pounds, more than 10 pounds. And it can just come on very, very fast. So I remember as a teen growing up, I would go through these phases where I was very conscious of what I was eating and I would try to eat as little as possible and I would just want to be as small as possible. And then we would go somewhere and I'd be, you know what? I just want to relax. I want to enjoy this food. And because of the amount of food I was actually eating, I would just gain it all back and more within like less than a month, like a few weeks. And so like that was a vicious cycle that I was in for like, I don't know, at least probably 2 decades.
It sounds like you experience like this conflict between wanting to eat a lot of food and then obviously also dieting. Did you like portion control when you were trying to diet? Like what did that look like for you when you were dieting?
Well, I didn't understand weight loss in the slightest. And so I just kind of had this idea that if I'm wanting to lose weight, I basically just need to eat as little food as possible, which I think is very
Which is
common.
difficult to do if you're someone that wants to eat so much injera that you literally have to be carried like out of the restaurant.
Oh yeah, I have been carried out of a restaurant because I've been so full I couldn't even move. That's happened on more than one occasion. But I guess people get stuck because they don't really understand weight loss. And I just thought that I had to eat as little food as possible. And being somebody who's just like a normal person in terms of how much they like to eat, that's really hard. But when you like to eat like a lot of food, that feels impossible. That's like white knuckling it for like a week is painful. 2 weeks is like terrible. And then I would obviously have these like massive binges. And so it was really just not understanding weight loss and thinking there was just something wrong with me. I would see skinny people around me and I would think, well, they just must eat tiny portions. And why can't I do that? Like, what's wrong with me? That I then keep on binging on things and then end up having month-long stints of like eating all the food because I was just starving. And so I just really didn't have a clue how weight loss worked at all.
What kind of diets did you try? Sounds like it started with portion control. I know you've done some raw food diets, which I also
Yeah.
have tried unsuccessfully.
I think raw food was like a predominant thing that I did
Yeah.
throughout my teens. It was something I gravitated towards because at the time there was so many influencers online that were promoting raw vegan eating.
They also ate a lot of food and had abs. So it was
Exact-
very sexy.
It was very sexy, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is a way that I can eat loads of
Yeah,
food.
yeah.
And so I did try raw for probably the best part of like, I don't know, 5-6 years on and off raw. And I just, for me, I didn't find it satisfying and it wasn't sustainable long term. Again, I think it was one of those things where I didn't really understand the principles behind why people were able to lose weight eating raw. And I just thought, okay, I see people eating raw food and that works for them. And I just tried to follow what it is other people were doing. People that would maybe do 20,000 steps a day and move their body and they were very active. And that wasn't me. And they were smashing in like 10 banana smoothies with sugar. And so I tried to do the same, but obviously being a very small person who wasn't very active, I didn't realize it was actually about calories in, calories out. I just assumed that eating raw was like the magic solution. So it was just not having a concept of like why weight loss even occurs in the first place.
Yeah. I was definitely the same. When I first found raw, it felt like finding the gospel because I was like, there are these people who are smashing back so much food. I love fruit. They're eating like 10 mangoes and so many dates and all of these things that I love to eat and would want to eat so much of, but they've got abs. So it was like a very attractive proposition. But for myself, I always found that I would eat these raw foods and I would eat a lot of them, but then I would be hungry very fast because fruit and salads digest so quickly in your system. And then I would feel terrible because it would be within an hour or two of having 10 oranges, which is like maybe like 800 calories that I just drunk back in a smoothie or something. And then I'd be just wanting to go and like order a pizza or order chips at like the corner shop. And I thought like, what's wrong with me? There must be something really broken in me because these people online, they're obviously able to do it. But why can't I do it? Like, what's wrong with me?
Yeah, like how are they not getting so starving that they end up binging on all the things? And so it's very confusing when you see people doing stuff online that seems to work, but you maybe don't understand it truly, and then you just feel like you're the person that's broken.
Yeah.
And so it's really frustrating. So I did that for, like I said, like many, many years. And I mean, within that, I feel like raw food can be great for some people. For me, it wasn't super satisfying. And like you said, I got hungry so fast after eating like a massive fruity meal with like loads of dates and stuff. And so I also didn't really understand why people lost weight and that they would lose weight when they're in a calorie deficit. So whilst I was eating raw, I would probably have these really light salads and like a bit of fruit. And then I would be so hungry that I would like make this crazy concoction. Like this is actually embarrassing to talk about.
Tell me your concoction.
Oh, it's very specific. So I'd be really, really hungry. And the thing that I knew satisfied me that fit in the like best raw food diet for weight loss was like nuts and dates. So I would load up the food.
And you love sweets.
And I love sweet things. I have like a killer sweet tooth. And I didn't understand like calorie density in the slightest. So I would load up probably like 20 dates and like 2-3 cups of nuts, like Brazil nuts was my favorite.
Wow.
Like if I think about the calories in that now, it's actually outrageous. And I thought this was great for weight loss because it was raw.
I mean, what you're describing sounds like over 2,000 calories.
Oh, easy.
And would you eat all of this in one sitting?
I would eat the whole bowl in one sitting. It would
As
have
a
like
snack or as like a meal?
No, as like an extra. So I would have like loads of fruity meals throughout the day. I'd have like a really big salad, probably with loads of like cashew cream on there. So I wasn't light on the calories in terms of like the things I was eating.
Yeah.
But it just didn't satisfy me. And like I felt like I needed something like a bit more dense and satisfying. And so I would always turn to this. So every few days I would have that. And then I would be in so much pain afterwards. Like my stomach would be killing me. And the next day I'd wake up and I'd be like, oh my God, why did I do that? But then a few days would go by and I'd be like, well, I'm really hungry, so I need to have that again.
Yeah.
And so it was a vicious cycle, but it's just truly not understanding
how weight loss works.
How weight loss works,
Yeah. There's two issues that I will consistently see with people who struggle to lose weight on a long-term basis. The first one is that their day-to-day meals are just not good at getting them into a calorie deficit.
Yeah.
The meals that you've described, well, not even meals, just like additions. I mean, you can be having a 5,000 calorie or more reasonably, a 2,500 calorie day, which is not going to get most women into that weight loss zone, especially if you're freaking tiny like you. So that's the first thing. Your day-to-day is not going to be working. But then you're hitting the other issue as well, which is that you can't actually even stay consistent with that. It's not even that your day-to-day is too high in calories. It's your day-to-day was too high in calories in addition to raw, or what you were doing was so hard to stick to that then you go and have 3 tubs of Ben and Jerry's.
Yeah. That exactly. So I was doing both of those things wrong because I just truly didn't understand it. So I would have like long stretches of time, like probably months, like probably the summer holidays or Christmas, where I would just be like, you know what, raw is not worth it. Like I can't do this right now. I just need to be like a normal person and feel satisfied. And then obviously I would go from one side to the other, and then I'd just be like vegan junk food and just eating as much of that as possible. And so it really was like swinging constantly up until the point. So then like I stopped trying to think about raw food when I went to university because I didn't have like a lot of money. And so I was just trying to I wasn't really thinking about weight loss. I was kind of on the leaner side of things when I went to university, and I was like, oh, that's great. Like, I don't really need to think about it now. I think I probably went through like a period of like intense raw or something. And so I went to university, and I was just, for the first time, I didn't have my mum, who is a very health conscious person and who loves like healthy food. And so I was kind of like, I'm free. I can just eat what everyone else is eating, and like I'm sure I'll kind of be okay, and I'll kind of make it work because I wasn't really thinking about it. There was also lots of drinking involved, and
because it's England.
Because it's England, that's what you do. And there was like just cheap food, like pot noodles and just like bread and butter and sandwiches and cheesy toasties.
Tell me your bread and butter thing that you used to do.
Honestly, they have so many embarrassing stories. So when I was at uni, not having much money, sometimes I would grab an entire loaf of bread, and it's not a very sophisticated, like this is like a real visual. I would sit down watching movies, and I would have a tub of butter next to me, and like I would eat through the entire loaf of bread. I would just grab it, scoop up butter, and just shove it in my face, and that was like a meal, or sometimes like a snack on top of everything else. That's just actually
how many calories would that be, do you think?
Oh my gosh, I'm thinking in the realm of like, I don't know, 4,000 to 6,000 with the amount of butter that I was eating. I have no idea, but it was a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a small person, so I gained weight really, really fast when I went to university. Like the first 6 months, I basically looked like a different person.
How much weight did you gain in those 6 months?
I'm going to assume like upwards of like 20 to 30 pounds, maybe, like definitely 20, like a really, considering how small I am.
Yeah,
that's
a lot on your
That was
frame.
really, really fast weight gain.
Yeah.
Because I just wasn't thinking about it, and I was just kind of having fun at uni.
Yeah.
Then I realized that I was really heavy, and I didn't want to eat raw again. I couldn't afford to eat raw again because I did have periods of time where that had worked. I just wasn't able to stay consistent. And so I was like, well, I can't do that. And so that's when I really kind of got into like, I'm just going to try and not eat so much food. So I remember waking up and being like, I'm not going to have breakfast. And then for lunch, I might have like some carrot sticks and hummus, and just keeping it like really cheap, and just trying not to eat throughout the day. And I remember at night, kind of just drink a lot of tea to try and get through the night and then go to bed early. Because I'm like, I don't want to even have to think about food, and it's best if I just don't eat.
Yeah.
And so it was just like so restrictive because I just didn't understand what else there was to even do outside of raw veganism.
Yeah.
Which in England, when it's really cold and you have no money, it's like very difficult to do.
It's funny that you mentioned the going to bed early as well, because I did something similar when I was in my early 20s, and I was flatting like for the first time and studying lots and trying to eat very, very little. And I remember going to bed very early, like maybe like 8 or 9, because I would be so hungry. It was like the only way that I could actually cope. And the reason that I think that is, it's kind of interesting, because one of the things people will say to me now is, how do you have a social life when you eat this way? But if you're hungry, if you're trying to resist food or not even be around your life because of hunger or because of restriction, like you can't be around people in that. Like your social life, your ability to function as a human being when you're having to deal with hunger, when you're going, hey, if I'm like out and about with my friends, like I'm going to binge on everything and then like massively restrict the next day or completely like beat myself up.
Yeah.
That's so much more difficult than what I would do now, which is just bring a potato to the concert and eat the potato while I'm there. Like, that's not actually difficult. It's not actually restrictive to eat the way that we do now. It's so difficult to diet, to go hungry and have any kind of relationships. Like, it affects every area of your life in such a negative way.
It really does. I mean, for me, I have a real, like, I think this is the same for most people, just a real knock of confidence when I'm heavier anyway. So like when I'm heavier, like I don't really want to go out so much. Like I feel like kind of embarrassed to even be in my own skin. That's kind of how it felt like when I was at my heaviest. So like the idea of going out, and again, I'd been restricting for ages and then gorging on all of this stuff actually felt really embarrassing to me. Like people watch me do that. So I didn't really love going out. Like it felt like something that wasn't actually super pleasurable, although I liked the food, but like the act of being there and the guilt that I would have associated afterwards often didn't really feel worth it, but I would do it anyway.
It's more of a compulsion almost than like a pleasurable activity, because you're getting the negative feedback of this is actually contributing to the state that I'm in and I don't want to be in this state.
Yeah.
But then you're also feeling like you have to do that because you can't get out of that behavior.
Yeah, exactly. So you just I just ended up feeling quite stuck in that. And then obviously when you, like the more kind of junk food you eat, the more you want to eat as well. So it's like a vicious cycle of that as well.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I remember spending so much of my time eating out, even when I didn't really have enough money to do that. In my early 20s, I spent, you know, every holiday was based around, well, where are we going to go and eat? It wasn't really like, let's explore like a nice place. It was, how many restaurants can we go to today? Like I remember we went to London once, and we ate our way through, I think, 5 restaurants in the space of like 5 hours.
Wow.
We went to like a restaurant every hour and ate a full meal. And that was what we wanted to do with our time because we were just so obsessed with eating out.
Wow.
And so I have this real history of like going out to eat. So it doesn't actually feel like super nice and super sociable. It feels like, like you said, it feels like a compulsion that I can't. Like don't know how to stop within myself. So now I feel like I have so much more freedom to like feel satisfied even before I go out. Like maybe just like have some broccoli and potato before I even go out.
Yeah.
And then I understand the choices that I can make whilst I'm out. Or if I'm bringing a potato, like I know I'm going to be satisfied.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like a full binge fest. So it feels so much nicer to be social now. I mean, the other thing that I love about this way of eating is you can make really tasty food. I mean, obviously that's what my whole thing's about, but like I love sharing the food that is like healthy with the people that I love, because I know that the people that I love are they're also overweight. Like they also really want to kind of eat healthy and eat more veggies.
Thanks a lot.
You love my food. But like when I get to share that with people, it also shows them, like it almost kind of, without shoving it down people's throats, it shows them how you can make healthy food really, really tasty. So I find that such an enjoyable thing to do in the way of being social now, eating this way more than I ever did before.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely have experienced a lot of the same. There's so much freedom in that, and we'll get into what changed. If we rewind a bit from when you were going to bed early, you're having the tea, you're trying to restrict your portion sizes, how did that go for you? What happened from that behavior? Like, what did you see? Did you lose weight? Did you gain it back?
I mean, I went through periods of time where I was very serious about weight loss because I really did not enjoy being in my own skin. And so I would probably realistically go through months where I would white knuckle it and just like be eating like hardly anything. That was a horrible experience because I felt like I couldn't go out. I didn't want to do anything. Like I just obviously no energy, like didn't have energy to like study or really be around people. And so I was very much like just in the zone with like trying to lose weight. And then obviously that's not something that's sustainable. That's not healthy. That's not like a way that you can do that for the rest of your life. So obviously then I would just binge on everything for months at a time, gain loads of weight back, probably more, and then beat myself up and then go back to like mega restricting. And then there was loads of like kind of counting calories in there and constantly just searching for what other diet can I follow? Like I was just on a constant manhunt of what actually is the best diet. Like I had to look into like vegan keto. I was looking at like, I mean, I didn't even know like calorie counting in terms of like all the like Weight Watchers and all that kind of stuff. So I felt like it was just something that was on my mind constantly. And it would be something that I would just think about walking down the street. If I felt uncomfortable in my t-shirt, it's something I'm thinking about. If I'm about to go and have breakfast, thinking about lunch, I'm feeling hungry, I'm feeling too full. Like it's something that would be on my mind hundreds of times every single day. And so for me, there was no freedom in that. That was actually like really like like almost like being in your own prison
Yeah.
of like just constantly thinking about food. And
Yeah.
so like to be in a place now where I don't even have to think about food in that way before is like life-changing.
That is extremely relatable to so many people listening. I've asked people, probably hundreds of people, women, like how much brain space does weight loss or thinking about food or thinking about calories on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah.
How much space does that take? And most people will say like 60, 70% of their brain space is actually going towards that.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I've experienced that for myself, and it's a crazy thing to have this shift in the access that we now have to hypercaloric food, where we've gone from having 60, 70, 80% of our brain space to sourcing enough calories
Yeah.
to now having 60 to 70% of our brain space being like, I'm eating too many calories. How do I stop? That's such a pendulum swing to go through.
It's so wild. It's just so much availability, and it's
Yeah.
just like it's everywhere all the time. It's almost hard to escape it, or you feel like it is. And it also is just wild because it's like that much brain space goes on thinking about food and how you eat and trying to lose weight. Imagine if you had the freedom that brain space could be put to anything else in your
Literally
life.
anything.
Think about
Your
what else you
kids.
could actually get done, or the time that you could spend with people. Like that's actually wild to think about.
Yeah.
So like when you lose weight and you kind of have that mental shift and like that freedom, and you release those thoughts from your mind. Like I've just experienced being able to do so much in my life that doesn't even involve food. Like it has changed my entire life just because I probably have more brain space to actually do the other things that I want to do in life.
So you went through a significant period of your early teens, 20s,
Yeah.
losing weight, gaining weight,
Yeah.
thinking about food, thinking about calories. Bring me up to where things started to change for you. How old were you?
So I guess another part of the story is after I finished university, I opened up a vegan cheese business. And so I was making like really tasty cheese, all made of nuts. So it's like highly calorific stuff.
You
Like,
love nuts.
I love nuts because I thought that was like a really healthy thing to have because it was raw.
And nuts are very calorie dense. For anyone listening, for context, a pound of nuts is about 2,800 calories. A pound of broccoli is about 100 calories. So you can see a massive difference there. If you would eat a tiny handful of cashews, you could eat an entire head of broccoli for the same amount of calories. And most people are smashing back that many cashews just sitting in the pantry or standing in the pantry thinking about what they're going to snack on. They're putting back 500 calories. I mean, I did this.
Oh, me too.
Just even thinking about what am I going to eat?
Yes, just like subconsciously snacking.
Exactly.
You can get loads of calories in just like that.
Yeah.
And so when I had my vegan cheese business, I did like a lot of testing, and it was a fun, like creative experience for me. And so I would eat so much of this cheese. Like I remember just like probably eating cupfuls of nuts every single day whilst working. Wow. And so not only was there that, but then also as part of my business, I would go to vegan festivals where I would sell my cheese. There's nothing healthy at vegan festivals. It's junk food everywhere. There's donuts, there's pizzas, there's like all of the things. And so basically every weekend or every other weekend, I would binge on all of the stuff at the vegan festivals. I'd be given stuff for free because like traders wanted to trade with me in terms of cheese. So I'd like go back with like, I remember this one time I was next to this guy who was selling fudge, like vegan fudge, like really good fudge. And he finished the day and he was like, oh, I've got all of this fudge left over, like a massive sack of fudge, right?
A sack of fudge.
Sack of fudge.
I've never heard fudge described in like quantities that relate to sacks.
Was like Santa with a bag of fudge. And so he was like, I'm not going to use this. Do you want this? And I was like, well, yeah, of course I want this. It's really great fudge. And so I remember being in the car, driving back for 3 hours and just eating fudge for the entire 3 hours on the way home.
Wow.
After a full day of eating like donuts and like all that kind of stuff. So again, that was a lot of binge restrict for me because I would do those weekends where I would smash in, I don't even know how many calories, go back, feel rubbish about myself and be like, right, this week I'm going to start from Monday. I'm going to be really, really good. I'm not going to eat very much. I'm going to like count all my calories. And then I would do that until Friday whilst eating nuts because I didn't understand anything.
I'm going to be really good with my calories. I'm going to be losing weight.
Yeah, exactly. So like I wasn't even in a calorie deficit whilst I was trying to be good.
And it was difficult.
And it was horrible because I was starving because I was eating nuts and probably like salad or something. And then I would have these weekends where I would just eat so many calories. This went on for about 5 years.
Wow.
And and over the course of the 5 years, I just gained more and more and more weight. Like it was really, like it was not a great time.
What did you think was wrong? Because now you have the information to know it was just about the calories.
Yeah.
It's really just laws of physics. But at that moment, what did you think was what was up?
What was up? I thought I just had some real issues. I thought I just didn't have willpower. I thought it was my fault that I should be eating smaller portions, that I should stay away from the junk food, and I shouldn't even be tempted by it. But obviously, when you've been starving yourself all week and you find yourself in the middle of like a junk food like world, I mean, what else are you supposed to do? You're a human. Like you want to eat, calories just to like maintain yourself. Exactly. And it's delicious.
Yeah.
And so I just thought there was just something so desperately wrong with me. And so I would just feel guilty just all of the time, just really like ashamed, just guilty, and just like horrible in my own skin. I just really felt like there was something wrong with me that I just couldn't stick to what other people seemed to be able to because they were like thin. And so I just thought it was a problem with me.
Did you ever think that there was anything wrong with your body as well, or was it purely a willpower issue for you?
I always thought that I was someone who gained weight really fast. Probably because I would eat a lot of calories really fast, so I guess it makes sense. But I don't think I'd ever seen anybody else gain weight quite that fast before, because I'd noticed that in like a couple of months I could look very, very different. Because I'm like 5'1.5". I'm like really small, and so if I have a period of time where I eat a lot of food, like I look and feel very, very different. So I'd never seen anyone do that. So I thought there was something wrong with my body in the sense that I was just somebody who gained weight really fast, and therefore I thought that to counteract that, I then had to be somebody who would lose weight really, really fast in order to try and like get back to that kind of area that I wanted to. So therefore, it was like extra restriction to try and like counteract the fact that I thought my body was just rubbish. And then I didn't have enough willpower, and I would just blame myself. So
I love having these conversations with you in particular, because every obstacle that someone will use not use, but every obstacle that someone could conceivably have to why it would be harder for them to lose weight, wanting to eat a lot of food, having a massive sweet tooth, being very small.
yeah.
So needing less calories, like overall, like you have all of these.
Yeah.
I
tick all the boxes.
Everything.
Lucky me.
Yeah.
I mean, back then I didn't feel like I was very lucky, but now it doesn't really matter. Like those things are almost irrelevant if you actually understand what kind of food you can eat. You can like cater to whatever kind of person you are, whether you don't like eating loads of food, whether you love food, whether you're huge, whether you're tiny, whether you're active, whether you're not. Like it doesn't really matter if you understand the principles. And so anyway, I'm glad I learned how weight loss actually works.
Yeah. And you've maintained this now for how long?
Probably about 5 years. Yeah, coming up for about 5 years, which is wild to me. I never thought I would be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What changed?
So I had a baby, and whilst I was pregnant, I obviously wasn't thinking about weight loss. And I was like, yay, I can eat for two. I wasn't doing that already.
I'm terrified of what eating for two looks like for you.
Oh.
Sacks of nuts.
It basically meant there was this like American diner place that opened up near where I live. And so I would go there like 4 or 5 times a week as like a craving, and then I would just eat like burgers and fries and onion rings and a milkshake and like a cookie.
As a side quest to this, how much do you think that you would have spent like a week or a year
Oh my gosh.
on junk food or takeout?
That's actually a terrifying thought. Every scrap of my savings, like everything that I made, would probably go on eating out, if I'm honest. Like actually genuinely everything. I don't know how much that is, but like thousands of pounds a month. Thousands.
And a lot of people are in the same boat. It's always really interesting every time that I like look at how much I'm actually eating out, or I look at my budget historically. It's you always spend more than what you think you are. You always eat out more than what you think you are. You always underestimate how many steps you do. You always underestimate like your consistency at the gym. It's this universal human principle that you always think that you're slightly better than you actually are, or a lot better than you actually are.
Yeah.
But then like way better than how worse you are. Like you're always so much worse than what you think you are.
Yes.
And this is like such
terrifying.
It is terrifying, because it also becomes such a barrier to people actually changing their diet, because they won't reallocate funds
Yes.
to whatever it's going to take in order for them to get consistent, be that joining a gym for the accountability. Not that working out is going to be the main thing that helps you lose weight. Like that's a completely different thing. That's about strength building.
Yeah.
But maybe buying berries, or people will say, well, berries are very expensive, or buying pre-cut broccoli, or things that are going to actually genuinely help you in your journey. Even just outsourcing, when I think about how much of a barrier to consistency is something like, I don't have time to prep. That's something that I hear all the time.
Yeah.
And I get it, because I also don't have time to prep, which is why I basically just eat the same thing all the time. And I buy microwave bags of broccoli now.
Yeah.
Microwavable bags of broccoli, which is like, you're going to go to hell for that. But imagine how much you could have gained just even in inconsistency. If you could have probably had like a personal chef for the amount that you were spending on that.
If I understood what I was meant to be eating, I could have hired 3 personal chefs a month, like back to back, one for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Honestly, like people don't really think about that, because they think I used to allocate it in like different funds in my mind. I'd be like, I go shopping and this is how much I spend when I'm shopping, like for my like daily, like weekly groceries. And then I would have a different allocation, which I wouldn't want to think about. Like I didn't look at the bank very often because it was a bit scary to know how much I was spending eating out. And so like I had those as 2 separate things. So if I thought about adding some more fruit to my basket, I'm like, that's impacting my shopping bill. But I didn't see it as a whole. I didn't see the big picture, whereby if I actually completely switch the way I'm eating, I'm saving thousands and maybe spending like an extra 100 or 2.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so it's like you just have to like really zoom out and look at it as a big picture. But this way of eating is like the cheapest way of eating that I have ever found. And it's just accidental. Like if you think about how much a potato is, how much rice is, think about the volume of food you get to eat, think about the fact that you're not eating out all the time. Like that's just an instant money saver. Even just like one of the big things for me was alcohol. Like even just not having a glass of wine every time you go out. If you just add up the alcohol in and of itself, for me anyway, like that's going to pay for like a whole room full of potatoes.
Yeah.
So it's like a non-brainer.
It's huge to have the ability to zoom out in that manner. And I think that is a reason that I struggled so much with all the dieting that I did in the past, because I never looked at it in terms of, is this helping my consistency overall? I never looked at things on a longer timeline. And it sounds like you were the same, where you're not zooming out and going, hey, is what I'm doing going to contribute to a binge 2 months down the road? Or is this going to lead to me at some point with my bread and butter on the couch watching movies because I'm hungry? We're always thinking about things in these very tiny little buckets. I'm in a weight loss phase now, therefore I'm going to be restricting my calories as much as I can, as opposed to, what does my behavior look like over the course of this year? What does my behavior look like, or my spending look like over the course of a lifetime, if I'm going to allocate more of these funds, my overall funds now, towards getting consistent, getting more pre-prepped vegetables, maybe having some help, maybe outsourcing some of these things, maybe purchasing coaching, maybe doing anything that's going to actually help me to stay consistent and be healthier. How many tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands, or even incalculable basis, 10 years of my life, like what do I actually stand to gain from investing and allocating this now? And how much more am I going to actually save? Because most people are going to either die of heart disease, diabetes, or cancer.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm living in the States now and already seeing how much more expensive it is to just pay for healthcare, to have any kind of interaction with anything to do with your health. It's vastly more expensive. And even if that wasn't a factor, like even if you live in a country where you're having like your healthcare completely paid for, you still have all of the cost associated with this not working for you long term. We're looking at things on such a short, tiny timeline and such a minuscule focus, and as opposed to going like, hey, like what do I actually need to do to get consistent, or maybe even just recognizing the patterns of the past. And just, I mean, you could radically change your entire life. I think for me, what was difficult is, and for a lot of people, they just
feel so bad right now and they just want to do something that's going to like give them the fastest change possible.
It's
Like
immediate relief.
it is, exactly. You just think, well, I ate really bad. I just need to not eat for a few days.
Yeah.
Or like, I mean, I would do like, juice cleanses. I'm like, I don't even want to eat any food. I'm just gonna have juice for like 3 days because I just want to like get this weight off me because I feel so bad. So people often just feel like they just want it right now. And I totally get that. But you're right. If you zoom out even a little bit, you realize that is not even sustainable for that week, that month, like definitely not that year. It's a scary thing to look too far in the future when you feel like you're constantly gaining weight.
Exactly.
Like it's actually a scary thing to zoom out and have a think about what is my life going to be like 10 or 20 years down the line? What kinds of health issues am I even going to have? And so like, I just remember I wouldn't even want to think about that as a concept.
And you don't have any trust in yourself because if you almost have to have this very delusional optimism about what you can achieve on a short-term basis because you have no trust in yourself to change systemically.
No. I mean, I'd never seen that I was able to stick to something or like lose weight for any kind of length of
You're
time.
like, let me hold my breath as fast as I can so that I can swim to the other side and then I'll make it and I'll be fine. Like if I can like get this weight off so quickly, then it'll be gone and then I'll just like go back to normal. It's like I'm going to trick it.
Yes, you're just trying to trick the system.
You're hiding. It's like hide and seek from your own like really terrible behavior.
Wow. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But it's just because you don't really want to face yourself.
Yeah.
So you don't want to think about it. And so I think when you're scared to even think forwards, you don't even want to think about things in a longer timeline. But I think that is the most valuable thing you can do for yourself is not trick yourself that you're actually going to fix this by doing the same thing again and again that's never worked. You need to find a very different, sustainable approach. And that is what obviously you and I have both found in this way of eating, that we now know how to keep doing this for the rest of our lives. Yeah. So it's not even something we have to think about anymore.
Tell me about what you learned, how you learned it, what changed for you, how you went from all of that restriction, the binging, the sackfuls of fudge to where you are today.
Well, I mean, I went through a period where I was just very serious about wanting to lose weight after I had a kid. I was the heaviest I've ever been. I was 66 pounds heavier, like on my tiny frame. Like that is substantial. Yeah. And so I really felt so rubbish. I felt so embarrassed to go out just wearing baggy clothes all the time. And so I was like, I have to do something. Like nothing's worked. I got to a period which was just like so painful. And sometimes when you get to a really painful point in your life, that is when you might find
it's like a catalyst for change.
Exactly. So I was like, I just have to do something different. So I just kind of almost went on a mission to scour the internet to find out what there was. And
help me.
I was like, I need to do this. And I found your content. I found your content through a couple of other people. And I had known actually about this way of eating for a really long time. It's not that I know about whole food plant-based eating. So I was aware of it and I had tried to do it on and off for a while. The thing that really clicked when I found your content, this was when you first started making stuff, so it's like right at the very beginning, was that for the first time I wasn't listening to somebody tell me what they had eaten. I was actually listening to you explain why it works, like the real underlying principles behind weight loss. Because giving someone a meal plan or something, that's great if they understand why it works. Yeah. But if you just say, eat this, this, and this, like that's going to give them no context whatsoever. They can maybe do that for a while, but they're not going to understand how to build their like habits. They're not going to know what breakfast to eat the next day. And so I had been kind of flip-flopping with trying to eat healthy in like a whole food plant-based way, but without understanding any of why weight loss actually works. So when I found you, I was like, it just suddenly clicked. Like I remember I started listening to this very podcast. Like I had you in my ear probably for hours every single day for like a month. And you only had a few podcasts out there at the moment. Yeah. I just thought to myself, I understand this and I want to soak up as much of this as humanly possible. So I think you maybe had 6 or 7 podcasts at the time. And I listened to them back to back. Every time I went out with Abe to take him for a walk in the pushchair, every time I was going to sleep, every time I was doing something, I had you in my ears because I just wanted to hear the information again and again and again. So it was truly just understanding that it's basically just about calories in, calories out, which sounds so ridiculous because of course it makes sense when you say it like that. But I mean, and I felt like such an idiot for not realizing that. And obviously weight was such a pain point for me. It would have been so nice to realize that before. But then there's not only understanding how weight loss works, you also helped teach me, and I know you have with other people as well, how to actually apply that in your life. Because it doesn't matter if you understand how it works, if you don't know how to actually put the steps in to make that like relevant for you. So like you really helped me do that and think about how to build habits in a long-term sustainable way, not like a quick fix. And so it was understanding those two pieces that really changed the game for me. I was like, I finally understand what it is I'm meant to do. And like, I jumped into it and I was just like, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to go all in because I was just so sick of feeling overweight. And I remember I was just like, I think it was June or something. And like, I'm just going to do this now until Christmas and kind of see what happens. And so I jumped in. I had never been more satisfied in my entire life. I had never eaten more food on a consistent basis than I had ever eaten before. And I had eaten a lot of food before. This is the first time that I never felt hungry, didn't even have to really think about food. And that was wild for me because I actually understood that the way that you lose weight is by eating foods that are incredibly satisfying for you, and you eat a lot of them. And so over the course of that first 6 months, I lost 40 pounds.
That's
like
crazy.
It's wild. Like if I think about the pictures that I took on my journey, like that's a massive difference for me. I was basically a completely different human. And everyone else was around me was like, oh my gosh, Amy, like, what have you done? This is crazy. And there I was in front of my in-laws, like stuffing my face with potatoes. And they're like, what are you, like, how are you eating?
What is this voodoo magic?
How are you eating 4 potatoes and like loads of broccoli and loads of this? And you've just had oats, like what is going on? And they're there doing that binge restrict that I have been doing for ages. And so it was just really, truly understanding how weight loss works, knowing that you can be satisfied and eating a lot of food, which was amazing for me. And then that plus learning how to fit that into your life in terms of habits, in terms of having a consistent breakfast, knowing to eat potatoes and broccoli on a regular basis, because that's the kind of the best in terms of satisfaction and like low calorie density. So just kind of understanding all of those pieces meant that it was effortless for the weight to come off. Like it just melted off me without me even really thinking about it, which is crazy because I'd never experienced that before.
Yeah, I had something so similar. The first thing being I realized I had to do something different to what I tried in the past. I think when you have kids as well, or you have some kind of life event where you go, I'm just not going to be able to do things in the manner in which that I did them. I have to start thinking on a longer timeline, or I have to start doing things differently. It can be like a good catalyst. Obviously, you don't need that, but thinking on that longer timeline, I have this very clear memory of, I remember there was this vegan girl that I used to watch, and she was like quite a big influencer at the time. She probably still makes content. She would make cookies and coconut curries, and I loved cooking like the most creamiest coconut curries, like so much coconut milk. I would have 2 bowls with probably 4 or 5 cups of rice, not loads of veggies. I would be eating so much food. I love the way that she cooked. I love what she did. She had abs. It was very unfair. Like, I'm sorry to say, like, it's just not fair. But I remember thinking, there's no way that I'm ever going to look like that. There's no way that I'm ever going to actually be in a lean body. There's no way that I'm ever going to be able to eat like a normal kind of diet. I'm never going to be able to eat curries. I'm never going to be able to eat the way that these people eat because they're just God's favorite, and somehow something is magical in their bodies that it's like, did you ever watch Casper as a kid?
Yeah.
Do you remember in Casper when the ghosts are eating and then all the
it
food
just
just
went through
falls through them?
I know. Some people are they seem like that, don't they?
I swear that there are like influencers online that are pretty much like Casper ghosts.
It is.
They're just eating and it just falls out of them
At
somewhere.
least that's what it looks like.
It feels like that.
I mean, that goes into a whole separate conversation about.
And we are going to have that conversation next about just deciphering what influencers are doing, how to interpret social media. So that's coming up in another episode.
I'm excited for that.
I'm also very excited for that. But the thing that I remember thinking was, I want to have some semblance of leanness. I would love to look like that, even though I didn't really feel like it was possible. And I remember thinking, I could spend 6 months, because I was 40 pounds heavier at that time. I could spend 6 months and I could eat so little food. Just even conceptually, I could do this. In actuality, I never could. Yeah. But even if I was to achieve that physique, that dream physique that I sore, and then I was to gain it all back, even the 6 months of torture that it would take to get there wouldn't be any point. And I remember thinking, if I'm ever going to get to where I want to be, or even close to where I want to be, I want to do it in a way that this lasts. That this is not this constant torture cycle where I get close and then I get so far away again, because the process itself is just too painful to maintain.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to be on the same kind of hunt that you were, with understanding how weight loss actually works, which does just come down to calories. It is just the laws of thermodynamics, which is that energy can neither be created or destroyed. If you eat more calories than what your body burns, then it's going to store that as a rainy day fat fund. Like, that's there for war, that's there for famine, that's there for the zombie apocalypse that is probably coming at some point. And if you want to lose it, then you're going to need to eat less calories systemically to eat away at that stored rainy day fund. And then as that depletes and you get smaller, you're also going to need less fuel to function as a smaller human being. I mean, you're almost half the person that you were.
I'm genuinely.
Yes,
genuinely.
Like, you're so tiny. But in that instance, like, you're going to have to keep eating less calories for the rest of your life if you want to maintain that smaller body.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that.
That is very true. And like, that's a terrifying thing to think. If you think you have to eat tiny salads and restrict yourself.
I mean, I'll just be bigger in that instance.
It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Because I kind of had it in my mind that, like, throughout my kind of dieting phase, I would lose weight and then I'd just be able to magically maintain it.
Yeah.
I thought I could just be like, oh, now I'm here. Yeah, I can eat what I was eating before. But that's obviously not the case. You can't do that.
Exactly.
Because that's how you got into, like, being overweight in the first place.
Exactly. And that's where those principles of understanding, first and foremost, you must eat less calories and you must eat them consistently for the rest of your life. And therefore, designing your meals, designing what you're doing to get you into a calorie deficit in a way that is going to be easy, sustainable, fulfilling, and not as nice, fluffy words, but in real practical ways where you can resist the bag of fudge.
Yes.
Because you actually don't want it.
And you're not going to bed hungry every night at like 8 p.m.
Drinking so much tea.
Yeah, drinking loads of tea because you're just like, you're starving.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I mean, if you try eating 3 potatoes,
you can't do
you'll
much.
be feeling great.
Exactly. So talk to me on a very, very practical level. What were the frameworks that you started to apply to get into a calorie deficit? What did that practically look like?
Yeah.
Lunch, dinner, breakfast, what you were doing on the weekends. Like, break that down for someone who has no idea how you even did it.
So the first thing that I did, like, overnight, as soon as I learned it, was I stopped using oil. Like, that was just like number one. I would just use oil in all of my cooking. I remember doing this tray of veggies and putting it in the oven. And like, I was like, this is like when I was like dieting. This is like, I'm being really good here. I put my tray of veggies in the oven and I got the olive oil and I'm just like so much olive oil, which is like the highest calorie food on the planet, like 4,000 calories per pound.
So how many calories do you think were in your tray of olive oil? I mean, not even olive oil.
It was a tray of olive oil, you're right.
With a side of veggies.
Yeah, I mean, I probably had like 200 calories in veggies and like maybe 600 calories of olive oil. And that was just to go alongside something. And that's not going to fill me up. Like, the calories in the olive oil is just like stuff that's going into me, but I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling satisfied. That's not like volume. And so that's kind of the way that I used to cook. And obviously like really heavy on the nuts and stuff like that. And just like more junk food, because I was really hungry. I would have a lot of junk food around, like a lot of Ben and Jerry's when I knew that I was going to be hungry at night. And so that instant switch of just not having oil was the first thing that I did. On top of that, I actually, for the first time, allowed myself to eat carbs in a way where I wasn't associated with guilt. And so like having oats for breakfast, like making oat pancakes was one of my favorite things, because I was like, I love pancakes so much. And so being able to eat pancakes, I basically ate that for breakfast for like 3 months.
The people think that this is crazy because the perception that we have about carbs is that they are just weight gain foods.
And I've always thought that.
I mean, you were telling me today that one of your relatives has just started eating potatoes.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, the great way about eating this way is I can kind of demonstrate to other people how you can lose weight. So there is someone like very close to me who has basically sworn off carbs completely. And so through seeing what I'm doing, she has started like adding potatoes into her life in a very real way where she's not feeling guilty about it and actually understanding how to eat it. And so like that's wild for her.
It's so sad that whole food carbohydrates, which are actually in terms of calorie density for the volume and weight that they are, get such a bad rep when it comes to calorie content. And I sometimes I wonder like why is it? And I think it's just like lack of just genuine understanding of how calories work.
Yeah.
And people will call carbs things like donuts. And a donut is very calorie dense. Like if you have one donut, you're looking at like 500 on the lower end in terms of calories, all the way up, especially here in the United States, all the way up to say like 700, 800 calories. But if you look at the actual content where most of those calories are coming from, yes, it's the flour, which is highly processed. So the water is removed, which makes it more calorie dense. But actually, mostly those calories are coming from fat.
Yeah, from the oil.
From the oils
Yeah.
that it's cooked in, from the margarine, from the being deep fried.
Exactly.
So many calories are coming from the oil content of the things that we are saying are carbohydrates. We're saying things like chips and fries are carbohydrates, but they're deep fried foods. They're calorie dense because of the oils that they're fried in. And if you look at potatoes, the humble potato is only 400 calories per pound.
Yeah.
That's how many potatoes is in like a pound of potatoes.
Like loads. You'd be really satisfied. And it is crazy, you're right, that people lump those two together. And so they're just kind of seeing carbs as like this whole evil thing without actually understanding like what is even in the certain foods and why they're so calorie dense. And so, yeah, I mean, I was definitely like of the mindset, if I'm dieting, if I'm being good, I'm not going to touch any carbs at all. And so for the first time, I was eating oats, I was eating potatoes, I was eating rice. But not only was I eating these starches, that were the bits that were keeping me like really satisfied, but because I wanted to eat a lot of food, or just because I am a human that needs to eat, just understanding that having vegetables with most, if not every single meal, is going to be one of the biggest game changers that you can possibly do. So I like if I know something, if I find out something, I'm going to go all in on something. Like if I had the secret, I'm going to do it completely. So I ate vegetables for breakfast, lunch, and dinner alongside my starches. So I would have a full head of broccoli with my pancakes. Like I would have like loads of carrots, sugar snap peas, like probably some more broccoli, and like big like hearty soups with like potatoes and rice for lunch. And so I was very focused on potatoes as a carb source because I understood that it was the most satisfying and the lowest in calorie density. And also just smashing in so many potatoes. Obviously, you and I talk about the 50-50 plate a lot of the time. So half of your plate is non-starchy veggies, half is starches. So I really took that to heart. And basically every single one of my meals looked like that for 6 months. I mean, and still now. Yeah. But like whilst I lost 40 pounds, I was eating so much food. But because half of it was veggies, it was so low in calorie density that I could go back for like seconds or thirds if I wanted. I didn't have to even think. Like I could tell how I was feeling in myself. I knew that I was losing weight. Like I did, and I was obviously tracking it, but I didn't even have to think about counting calories or portion control ever again, and I don't now. And that is just wild to me. Yeah. So just cutting out the oil, understanding that carbs can, like whole plant carbs, are actually amazing for you, so satisfying. Eating so many vegetables, and then obviously finding ways to like make food like taste nice, so that you actually kind of want to eat it, was like something that I really wanted because I really love food. And so those were kind of the core principles that I took to heart, and I just applied that to every single one of my meals. Yeah. And so really, obviously, on top of that is just consistency. If you do that a few meals a week, you're not going to really see the benefit of it. But if you go like, I'm just going to do this, and I'm just going to do it consistently, it's amazing the results that you will see.
Yeah, that was such a game changer for me with the veggies as well. And I'm always thinking now, how do I add more vegetables to my meals? It was such a shift because I did cook with vegetables in the past. I did know that vegetables were good for you and I did like vegetables, but I didn't understand that they are like the secret ingredient when it comes to weight loss, because they're going to help you to feel fuller while offsetting whatever calories come with the rest of the foods that you're eating. Because they're essentially like drinking water and diluting the calorie content, but getting full at the same time. And you can't just eat vegetables like I used to do, which was salads, and then I would go and have a binge. You have those carbohydrates to feel satisfied, but the vegetables allow you to bulk out your meals. And I have this very clear memory when I first started eating the way that we do now, eating a ton of vegetables, eating a ton of potatoes. I remember weighing out, it was like a pound of mushrooms and then I think like a pound of zucchini and cooking up like a whole load of tomatoes. And I made this dish that I was going to have with some potatoes for my breakfast. And once I'd cooked it all up, it was like 3 pounds of food. And I was going to split it over a couple of meals, I think. But as a side, right? But I remember just because I still felt like I can't possibly eat this much food and lose weight. Something wasn't computing that could be possible. I couldn't just trust that it had worked for other people. Yeah. I remember putting it in MyFitnessPal and looking at the calorie content and being mind blown of how low the calories actually were. And then experiencing what it felt like to eat that meal and how full I felt and how long I felt full and how satisfied I was. And then going, okay, but I've only eaten like 400 calories. And it feels like magic because I also started to get an understanding of the meals that I had been eating and that I could have eaten those 400 calories in a handful of nuts, in the dressing that I used to put on my salad, but I was hungry in an hour. So it completely rewired the way that I thought about how to make food because I had the conviction from the evidence, which was, okay, this is just genuinely low in calories compared to what I was doing. Like it's objectively helpful for weight loss because if you're eating 3 500-calorie meals that are filling and satisfied and you don't really want to snack, and then maybe you're having like a little bit of fruit for dessert or a couple of cups of tea, then you're eating in that perfect weight loss zone, like 1,800, maybe 2,000 calories, maybe a bit less for you because you're so much smaller, but you're in that weight loss zone. You can see that like physically on paper, but you're also experiencing how it feels. It seems like it should work, but then you do it and you're like, what the heck? This actually does work.
The thing that I love about it is that it's not like, you don't have to be like, oh, let's just trust this and see how it goes. It's scientific.
Yeah.
Like you just put it in and you count the calories and you have a look at the food and you eat it. You'll know within an hour whether that's something that you can sustain. Like it's amazing. Like with most of the diets that I'd tried before, there was no kind of true understanding to why it was even going to work. But I love this so much because it's like you can just see very, very clearly. It's scientific and you can be satisfied.
Yeah.
And so it's a game
I love
changer.
what you have done as well, which is something that sometimes people will struggle with, which was that you did go hard on the volume. And you did that especially in the beginning, where you didn't let hunger in any form be a reason that you would go on to then binge.
I think what I had taken from, because I did a lot of reflecting in that time as well, what I had taken from my past experience with dieting is that when I'm hungry, I go to junk food. Like I binge on Ben and Jerry's when I'm hungry. And so starting this venture, I kind of said to myself, like, I'm not really going to let myself get hungry. So like, it doesn't really matter if I have like an extra meal in the day. Like, that's okay. Like, if I need an extra 3 potatoes and a head of broccoli, like, I'm going to do that because I don't want to be hungry. Because I know that if I'm hungry, I am probably going to eat some Ben & Jerry's. I'm going to find myself in a place where I'm not going to be able to keep this going long term.
It's that zoom out where you go, the extra 300 calories that keeps me consistent from the potato and broccoli is worth it because it stops me from the extra 3,000 I was going to have as a binge, and then the extra week of binging I had because I felt so bad from the binge tonight.
Because it's a cycle.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I'll pay the 300 calories for that. Like, thank you very much.
Yeah.
That sounds great, actually.
Exactly. And even if you think that you're like, often I would like have an extra meal, and then like the next time I would go and have a meal, I'd be like, I'm actually kind of full from the potatoes and broccoli I had. So maybe like I don't need this entire dinner. So like I realized like when I eat whole plant foods, low calorie density style, like you genuinely eat as much as your body actually needs. So you don't even need to think about it. You don't need to go, oh, well, I'm only going to have like 1 potato and I'm only going to have like a bit of broccoli. You can just kind of have what you want as long as it's 50-50 plate style. The rest of it will take care of itself. So you just don't even need to put brain space towards it.
And then what you've done, which is kind of taking all of this to the next level, is made all of your favorite meals, made all of the craziest treats that you can possibly think of, and then added cauliflower and chickpeas and sweet potatoes and all of the things that you would have been using to make a 50-50 plate, you make that into some kind of dessert that looks like it can't possibly taste good, but it actually does.
It does. And I know you were surprised
I
when
was
we
surprised.
first met.
I
Then
was.
you didn't think the stuff that I made tasted good, but it does.
It does taste good.
But-
But you've used those frameworks and you've understood them enough in order to do that. And that's like the biggest thing when it comes to doing this long term.
That's what I really love is, I mean, for the first kind of 6 months, or probably for the first kind of year or so, I did keep my meals very simple because I didn't want to have to think about it. But actually, I am somebody who really loves food. Like, I love being creative in terms
You
of
love that
food.
process,
I love
yeah.
it. Like, I love sharing it with other people. Like, it's just a fun thing for me. That's why I had a vegan cheese company, because it was creative. And so I've realized that I can apply those principles of low calorie density whole plant foods, and I can basically make anything I want. And it just feels like such a satisfying thing to be like, I want some magnums. And so like, I'm going to make magnums out of sweet potato, or I'm going to make like a chickpea cookie dough blended oats for breakfast, but it's going to have like chickpeas and cauliflower in it. Like, that feels like such a fun thing. And like, I really do enjoy food. And so I kind of went from like eating loads of junk food to keeping food quite simple, which I still do the majority of the time. But I also do like to have foods that are a bit more exciting. And so being able to make that within these frameworks means that I never have to think about like restricting myself in terms of like junk food. Like, I don't think about Ben and Jerry's anymore because I know I can make the tastiest ice cream at home with like low calorie density stuff. And so like
And you can eat enough of it that that's even a full meal as opposed to a snack.
exactly. Like, if I do like more often than not, if I'm hungry for dinner and I want something sweet, I'll make like a chocolate cake, or I'll have ice cream. Like, it's amazing. Like, I will sometimes go through a period of like 2 or 3 days where I just have like sweet stuff for my meals. But I'm obviously including like loads of veggies in there. Like, I sneak veggies into everything.
Yeah.
And I'm getting creative. But like, I found a way to really eat whatever it is that I want to eat, whatever it is that I'm craving, but just using the low calorie density framework. Because the thing is, you need to eat this way to lose weight and to keep it off long term in terms of sustainability. But like, it's so easy to maintain if you understand how to make any food that you want, so you never feel restricted. And so that's been a really fun thing for me to discover over the course of time, is that I never have to want. Like, if I'm craving something, I know that I can make it. And also what I've realized is, although keeping it simple is so valuable, and I know that we talked about this a lot, and it's like, I would recommend somebody doing that if they're very serious about weight loss, but also I think it's really important for people to know that they can still have fun with food and it can still be healthy. Like, that's a way of inviting people into this world of eating, I find, is just to show them that it doesn't have to just be potatoes and broccoli, although that is incredible. Like, it can be really exciting stuff. And like, if I'm sharing food with my kids or my family, like, that's the kind of stuff that I'll make because it makes them really excited about healthy eating.
One of the things that I love about your story and what you've done now with the thousands, like hundreds of thousands of people that you're influencing to eat more plants, to eat more vegetables, that you can eat foods that you like and still lose weight, is that you've taken complete ownership of the principles, and then everything that you're doing fits into those. So you're never saying, well, I want to be able to eat healthy food or eat treats, and then I'm going to make them, and I should, just because I've followed what someone else is doing, be able to lose weight. You have taken so much ownership of the core principle, which is, I'm only losing weight if I'm in a calorie deficit. What I'm doing is only actually working retrospectively if I'm maintaining my weight. And this is a mistake I see so many people make. And we're going to talk about this in the episode that we're doing coming up, which is that they will see people online, they will see influencers, and they think, well, if I eat like them, I should be able to have those results. You've taken all the shoulds out of this way of eating for yourself. You got very, very clear on the patterns for yourself, what you needed to do, what your environment needed to look like, how was going to be the most helpful for you to stay consistent. Talk me through, before we finish up on this episode, your mindset or your frameworks around taking ownership for your choices based on what actually works, not what you think should.
I think it goes back to, for the majority of my life beforehand, whilst I was dieting, I was trying to copy what other people were doing, and it didn't work for me. When I had that aha moment of I actually understand the principles of how this works, I'm like, I know my own life. Like, nobody else is my size, likes to eat the amount of food that I eat, has my lifestyle. So therefore, I'm not going to just copy what somebody else is doing, because that doesn't really make any sense. But I've now understood all of the principles, and I'm going to use that in a way that makes sense for me. Like, I love sweet treats. I like to eat a lot of food. I am a small person, so I probably need less calories. So I know how to put my meals together in a very specific way so that I can tick all of those boxes. I know that I want to be satisfied. I don't want to be somebody who's hungry at night. So just like understanding that and knowing myself in all of those things means that I can have something sweet every single night that's really satisfying and is loaded with veggies. Like, I know that I can make like the most outrageously gigantic amount of food, like honestly, like bowls this big that I eat, that is basically just vegetables and like a couple of potatoes, and it tastes incredible.
So many amazing takeaways and nuggets from this episode. If you are wanting more help with your weight loss, if you're wanting to learn how to get into a calorie deficit and actually have the accountability to do that, then I have a weight loss program. We do one-on-one coaching. And then Amy and I also collaborated on a course all about those fundamentals of weight loss, how to get into a calorie deficit with building amazing meals, having those component bowls, learning how to prep, how to get consistent in terms of building habits. So I'm going to put those two resources, either the weight loss course that we've collaborated on, or a call for our one-on-one coaching program to see if that's going to be a good fit for you, which is a free call. And then also Amy's weight loss books, which show all of the recipes that she's used to lose weight, and then also how to build low calorie dense meals. I'm going to link all of those in the description so you can go and check those out. And also make sure you're listening for the episode that we have coming up, which is all about how to decipher what vegan influencers are doing and how to make sure that what you're seeing is actually applicable to your life, so that you don't just follow what someone else is eating in a day and then gain all of the weight back, and actually how to make judgments, because social media is everywhere. And if we understand how to utilize that for what we are doing, then we're going to see success. But if we use it as before I learned how to lose weight, then we're most likely going to continue to feel disillusioned, disappointed, and also be 40 pounds, 50 pounds, 60 pounds overweight, because it's not applicable to our life. So make sure you stay tuned for that episode coming up with Amy as well. Bye.